La la la. Any questions about any of those? Going once, going twice, going thrice? Any questions? Any questions at all? I will answer any questions you have about anything on that page. Any question at all.
One letter can it be -5?
Hold up. You want me to talk about B?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you divide by?
Oh wait, never mind. I got it.
Okay. Louis, you asked here about -5.
Yeah.
You could have, if you wish, and then you would have had, because if you write this properly, it should be -3z squared minus 2z plus 1, right? And then we don't like a negative there, so you could have brought out a -5. Yes, I would give full credit for that. And there is the end of it. Yeah. Everybody is Gouda?
Swiss.
Excellent. And then there was page 129 at the top. X squared plus 2x minus 15. 6x squared minus 8xy. X squared plus 6x plus 8. And x squared minus 6x plus 8. Everybody is good with that too? Lovely. Please look on your page. Actually, I'm a big liar. Turn back to page 126. Remember how at the bottom of page 126 I said we are not going to do that one because that's another kind of factor. I'm going to come back to it later. Guess what time it is? Later. So we're going to talk about this. Now, listen to me and listen to me closely. A great many of you are no good at drawing algebra tiles. That's fine. You do not have to be. But this is one of the occasions where algebra tiles are actually helpful in showing you how something works. Okay? So if you don't have to draw them if you don't want to, but I do wish you to pay attention to my explanation because it will help you with the actual work that we do with this stuff. All right? All right. Is that a product or factors? Product. How do you know it's product?
It's not being multiplied.
There's nothing being multiplied. There's no factors. Right? So we're going to break this down, yes? Which means if I was going to break this down and draw it, it would look like this, yeah? And the product would be in the middle and the factors would be on the side, correct? So somewhere in the middle here, I would need an x squared, -8x's, and 7 little boxes, right? Everyone agrees? I would need one of these big guys, 8 of these negative guys, and 7 of these positive guys. Everybody cool with that? And when we use the rectangle method of multiplying from area, we know that this drawing in here has to make a rectangle, right? Everybody's with me? Okay, so let us begin. I only need one of these, right? So it makes sense to put it in the corner. Everyone agree? Which means we now know our first factor, don't we? We know that it had to be x there and x there, correct? To make x squared in the middle. Is everybody good? All right. Now, how will I make some negatives if I only have positives right now? I'm going to need some negatives outside, aren't I? Right? I've already got positives outside, so I'm going to need some negatives outside, correct? Everyone agree? So we've already dealt with the x squared. Now, the next thing we should deal with is the 7, because we've already dealt with our x's, haven't we? No one? All right. We're going to deal with these guys. I need to get 7 of these guys in what shape? They need to be, no. They're positive right now. So they need to stay unshaded. And I got to have 7 of them, correct? But what shape do those have to make? They got to fit into this rectangle, don't they? What is the only way I can get 7 things into a rectangle? What's the only way I can do it? Remember, a rectangle has a length and a width. What is the only way I can make this area in here, when it draws, 7? Aisha? I'm sorry? I just can't hear you, Aisha. You need to speak up. But I need all 7 of them, so I can't take one away. What? It has to be 7 and 1, doesn't it? I have to have 1 there and 7 there. Agreed? Everybody agree? All right. So notice that in my rectangle, I need 7 and 1, yes? All right. So 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, yes? Do I have any negatives yet? So something's got to be negative. Where? I can't make either the x's negative, or I'll get a negative x squared here, won't I? If I make this guy negative, yeah, I got to make all of these guys negative. Right? Now, 1x times x gives me x squared. Positive, positive. Everything cool, right? 1 positive x times 1 negative. What does that give me? Negative x. And there's going to be, how many of them up here? No, up here there's only going to be 7, right? What's here? There's my 8. And what does negative and negative give me? Positive. Everybody see this? How this works? I don't care if you can't draw it. I need you to see how it works. X times x gets me x squared. X times negative 1, 7 times, gets me 7 x's. Negative 1 times x gets me my 8x. There they are. And 1 times 1, 7 times, gets me my 7. Is everybody good? So now, the factors live on the outside, right? So what are the factors of that trinomial? Here is factor 1. What is it? What is that?
2x minus 1. 1x minus 1.
X minus 1. That's factor 1. What is factor 2? X minus 7, right? Now, in this unit, I can always check my work, can't I? Isn't this a shortcut situation? No coefficients. Is negative 1 and negative 7 negative 8? It is. Is negative 1 times negative 7 positive 7? It is. So I've done this correctly, yes? Everyone agree? All right. So if none of this page was here, this was all gone, and I only gave you that, your shortcut would be to add those two, then multiply those two, correct? Well, now we're going backwards. Now we have the final answer. What did we need? We needed 2 numbers that would multiply to that and add to that. Does everyone see how it works? You're going to see a ton more of it in a second. Please go to page 129 now. This is factoring form number 2. What was factoring number 1? We use division. What do we call it? GCF, factoring. And that's what we try first, yes? That was I forgot the 1. Number 1 was GCF. This is number 2. Now, what do I have there? Factors or a product? Factors. How do you know? Because there's two things being multiplied together, right? So I have factor 1 and I have factor 2. Since we don't have the product written, we would expand that, right? If we are actually doing the multiplication, that is called expanding. So, since we have no coefficients, we can do the shortcut, right? So that means we're going to be x squared plus 10x plus 24, correct? Right? I knew this number because it was 4 plus 6. I knew this number because it was 4 times 6, right? Now, if all of this was gone, and I told you to go the other way is what we call, going that way is factoring. And if we are going to factor something that looks like this, which is x squared plus or minus ax, so some coefficient with x, plus or minus, actually I'm going to make that a b, sorry guys, b plus or minus c, I saw, don't worry about it, I'm fixing it right now. So you all are able to recognize why this is the same as this, yes? X with no coefficient, plus or minus a coefficient with x, plus or minus a constant. Everyone with that? If we want to factor this, it's always x plus or minus and x plus or minus, and these two numbers have to add to b and multiply to c. All right, here's what I mean. We're going to start with this very first one. Since it's in the right form, it's got nothing out in front, we know that we can break it down into binomials. And how we do that is we look at the very last number and we think to ourselves, all right, I know that when I expand this, those last two numbers have to multiply to 18. Just like they did up here, right? And I know that those numbers have to add to 7. So when I'm doing these, I always like to write out, I need to multiply to negative 18, and I need to add to 7. Everybody with me? Now, all I got to do is start thinking about the numbers that multiply to 18. Will 1 and 18 multiply to 18? Yes. Will they add to 7 in any way? No. Will 2 and 9 multiply to 18? Will they add to 7 in any way? Really? There is no way you can make 2 and 9 give 7. Corey?
Can you make 2 negative 2?
Yeah. Everybody see? What is 9 minus 2? What is 9 times negative 2? Negative 18. So now I know it is x minus 2 is one of the numbers. And what's the other number? X plus 9. In this unit, you can always check your work. Is negative 2 plus 9 7? Is negative 2 times 9 negative 18? So did we do it right? Yep. That's how easy factoring is. What about this one? What do I have to multiply to? What kind of 8? Negative 8. What do I have to add to? Negative 2. Is it 1 and 8? Can 1 and 8 add together to make 2 in any way? No. Is it 2 and 4? How? Negative 4 plus 2, correct? So it must be x minus 4, x plus 2. And we check. Is negative 4 plus 2 negative 2? Uh-huh. Is negative 4 times 2 negative 8? Uh-huh. Are we right? Uh-huh. One sec, because I may answer your question right now. Would I be allowed to write, and I'm going to use different colors now, would I be allowed to write this? Is that green one okay?
Yeah.
Why?
Still the same.
Because it's still multiplying. 5 times 2 is the same as 2 times 5, right? So that one's okay. Would I be allowed to write this one in gray? Which I'm going to have to wait a moment. Ugh. Would I be allowed to write this? Still green. Would I be allowed to write this? X minus 2, x plus 4. Check it. Is it? What's negative 2 plus 4? Positive 2. What did I need? Everybody see what I'm saying? That's why you got to check. Is everybody good? Okay. Yes, Ash. I didn't answer your question, so go.
So you use the GCF one when they have a GCF, but if they're all like this, and you use this one?
Yep. Just wait. We'll actually be doing some that... Don't worry. You guys all try C by yourself. Go. Because for some of you, the first time you've ever seen this. See if you can figure out C all by yourself. Of course you did. Because it's not that difficult. What must I multiply to? And what must I add to? If you've done C, try D. Another 30 seconds, then we'll talk about C. All right, what did we need to multiply to? 35. And what do we need to add to? Negative 12. Is it 1 and 35?
No.
Is it 5 and 7?
Yeah.
Yes. But they need to be both negative. X minus 5, x minus 7. And then we check. Negative 5, negative 7, negative 12. Perfect. Negative 5, negative 7, positive 35. Perfect. We got it right. Everybody's awesome, right? Great. Now, what's happening in D? What's different? It's A's. Does that ever matter? Could I have drawn a fish there? Could I have drawn a stick man? Could I have drawn a dollar sign? It wouldn't matter because it's all the same thing. So right away, we're like, oh, Myers, you're not going to fool us with your stupid A instead of an X. We're not dumb. Good. So I need to multiply to what? Negative 20 and add to what? 12. Is it 1 and 20? Is it 2 and 10? Will 2 and 10 make 12? Okay. So then it would be A. Since that's negative, it must be negative 10 and negative 2, correct? Right? Check it. Negative 10 plus negative 2 is what? Negative 12. I need positive 12. Oh, Mr. Myers, fine. It was negative 20. So it must be positive 10 and negative 2. Does that work? Why not? Because 10 minus 2 gets me 8. Okay, Mr. Myers, you're why I oughta. It's negative 10 and positive 2. Now I gotcha. Why? Because negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. Okay, so it must not be 10 and 2. Well, then it must be 5 and 4. Is it? Can 5 and 4 get to 12 in any way? Excellent. This question is here for one reason and one reason only. If you only learn steps, you will sit on this question for 5 minutes and try to make it work and fit into your steps. Does it? No. What does that mean? That means this guy right here does not factor. Sometimes you can't go any further. And it is just as important to know when you're done as it is to know how to get there. Does everybody understand? Do not try to make your work fit what you think is the answer. Do the right thing. Know you're doing the right thing. And if it doesn't work, know that you are done. Does everybody understand? All right, let's try a few more on our own. That first one's easy. You should be able to do that right away. Go. To multiply to something and add to something. What do you need to multiply to? What do I need to multiply to? Negative 14. What do I need to add to? Negative 5. Is it 14 and 1? No. Is it 7 and 2? Yes. How will 7 and 2 get me to negative 5? Negative 7 plus 2, yes? So it must be y minus 5, y plus 2. Does everybody understand how to do the basic ones? Oh, thank you.
Oh.
Negative 7. Does everybody understand how to do the basic ones? Yeah? Everyone's good? Everyone? That's 5 of them. Is that enough that you're semi-comfortable with it? Okay. What's different about f? Now there's a coefficient in front of it. We only know what to do when there's no coefficient, correct? So if that 4 wasn't there, we could do something with this, couldn't we? Okay. What math is that 4 doing to the x? It's multiplying it. We want to get rid of some multiplication in math. So what do? Divide. If I divide that by 4, will I lose that 4? I will. But doesn't that change the value of this expression? Not if I do what, Ash? What'd you just say? Not if I divide everything by 4. Now notice, haven't we done this once before in math? Divided everything by the same thing. That's GCF factoring, isn't it? And that's what we're supposed to try first, isn't it? See what I mean? So, I can't forget about that 4. There's my GCF. Now I write the answers. What is this one? X squared. What is this one? Negative 5x. What is this one? Negative 14. Hey, wait a minute. Aren't those the same? Remember how I said sometimes you have to factor more than once? So what would we do with that guy? We're going to factor him, which we already have, x minus 7, x plus 2. We have to remember, sometimes we need to factor more than once. Is everybody cool to F? Okay, you try it with G. Try what we did in F with G. Because you will notice every second question I'm adding something new, but we're using the exact same stuff, right? So you guys try G. What are you going to divide by to get rid of the thing you don't like? Would anyone like to volunteer their first step? Don't be shy. Bailey, go. You're damn right you divided by 10. And then you wrote your answers, right? Which was 10 x squared plus 8x plus 12, right? And then you said to yourself, self, that looks pretty suspicious. So you checked. Are there any numbers that multiply to 12 and add to 8? Are there? What are they? 6 and 2. 10, x plus 6, x plus 2. Is everybody cool? You're going to get lots of practice on this, so don't worry about it if you're a little dodgy. You can see we're going to do a bunch more. I'm just adding a new little thing each time. What bugs us in H? What bugs us in H? The negative and the coefficient, right? Well, we know how to get rid of the coefficient. We divide by 4. How do we get rid of the negative? Divide by negative 4. So let's change colors. I feel like light green. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. Out comes negative 4. What's my first answer? T squared. What's my second answer?
3t. 4t.
Plus 4t, because two negatives make a positive. And what's my last answer? Minus 32. Then I say to myself, self, that looks suspicious. So what do? I check, are there any numbers that will multiply to negative 32 and add to positive 4? What are they? 4 and? I need two numbers, right, Tyler? 4 and 2? 4 and 8.
4 negative.
So I need 4 and 8, but I need this to be positive 4, so it must be negative 8?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. 8 minus 4 to get 4, right? Negative 4, t minus 4, t plus 8. Is everybody good to H? Okay. So that means I doesn't add any new trickery. I keeps it pretty simple. But it looks a little different. What is different about I? You don't like the order, correct? Am I allowed to move stuff around? Okay. So if I made this negative d squared minus 5d minus 24, now what don't I like? I don't like that negative out in front, do I? Okay. So how do I get rid of a negative? I divide everything by negative 1. Correct? So I got negative 1 out front, and then what's in the middle? D squared, because negative d divided by negative 1 is positive d squared. Then plus 5d, then plus 24. Correct? Then I say to myself, self, that looks suspicious. So I check. Are there any numbers that multiply to 24 and add to 5? But everything in here is positive. Everything's in here positive. So can I use 8 and negative 3? Nope. Can I use 4 and 6? Can I use 2 and 12? Can I use 1 and 24? Which means if I can't use any of the pairs of numbers, am I done? Yes. Do you try to force it? No, because it's done. The only thing we could get out of there was a -1. Is everybody with me? It's a good idea. Everybody cool? All right, now look at J. Tell me what's different. There's different variables, correct? If I did this, could you do that? What would you do? Talk to me. You would need numbers that did what? Multiply to -20 and add to 19. What are they? Are they 1 and 20? Is it 1 and 20?
Yes.
Yeah, 1 and 20 will make 19 if one of them is negative, right?
Oh, yeah, -1.
So I need 20 and -1. Does everyone agree? Everyone's good? Okay, so let's write out what we know. All right, Myers says write out what we know. So we got a V plus 20, leave a space, then we got a V minus 1 and leave a space. Everyone agree? V times V, V squared, 20 minus 1, 19, 20 times -1, -20. Everyone agree? Okay. Now there's a B involved, so what must go here? B. And -1B, right? Because that will give me B times B to get squared. Would I write that 1? No. Would I take marks away from you if you left that 1 there? No. If it helps you, leave it. Everybody with me? Does everybody see why it works? It's the exact same thing as having the letter up here. VV, then BB to get B squared. Everyone cool? You try K, because K is exactly the same as J. You know how to do it if there's no Y there. So all you got to do is add a Y at the end. Go. I'm feeling very brown today. What must I multiply to? -28. What must I add to? 12. Is it 1 and 28? Is it 2 and 14? It is. It is 2 and 14, -2. So it is x minus 2 what? X minus 2y and x plus 14 what? Y. Is everybody good to K? Are you asking me a question or are you pointing at something? Oh, it went blue. Everybody good? What's different in L?
Is somewhere just 2 variables?
There's too many B's, right? We know what to do when that is squared. So I got to get rid of one of those B's. So I check. If I want to get rid of a B, I must have to divide by B, right? Does it work all the way across? Everyone's got a B to give, so I put a B out front. A squared minus AB minus 20B squared, right? Then I say to myself, self, that looks awfully suspicious, so we check. Are there numbers that multiply to -20 and add to -1? Is it 1 and 20? Nope. Is it 2 and 10? Nope. Is it 4 and 5? Yes. How?
Negative 5.
Right. It is 4 minus 5. So it's B, A plus 4, what? B, and then A minus what? 5B. Can everybody do L? Can you guys really do this, or are you lying to me? Everyone's okay? Everyone's okay. I don't understand, but yes, I'm okay. I don't understand what that means. How can you be okay but not understand? Okay. What's different about M? I don't like x to the 4th. I gotta get rid of it. Can I? Why not? Not everything has an x to give. Damn! All right. But it still looks like what we've been dealing with, correct? What do you notice about x squared in the product and then x and x in the factors? They multiply to get x squared, right? Okay. Is there something we could do with that would work? I could go x squared times x squared. Wouldn't that give me x to the 4th? Wouldn't it? Okay, well, then let's see if this works. Are there numbers that will multiply to 50 and add to negative 15? What is it? Negative 5 and negative 10. Negative 5 and negative 10. That's weird, Myers. I don't think that's going to work. So what do? Check it. X times x is x to the 4th, right? Negative 10x squared minus 5x squared. Oh, that is negative 15x squared. Negative 5 times negative 10 is positive 50. Oh man, it did work. Does everybody see? I didn't show you how to do that. You figured it out from what you already knew. If we had started with this unit on the first day in February, you guys would have been like, I have no idea. But today, because we've been doing it for a while, you're starting to notice that, wait a minute, math works. You were able to figure that out. Right? Look at n. What's different? There's a 0 in the middle. But it's still a trinomial, isn't it? So I must still need numbers that multiply to negative 9 but add to 0. What are they?
3 negative 3.
3 and negative 3. So it must be x plus 3, x minus 3. Right? Everyone agree? Okay, look closely at that and tell me what, if you see a relationship between 9, 3, and 3. It's a square root, isn't it? And is there a relation between x squared, x, and x? What is it? Square root. So let's have a look at O. Apply your knowledge. What do you know about x squared? It's going to break down to x and x, right? What do you know about 625? It's going to be a square root. What is it? 25. Plus 25 minus 25. What do you know about this if this was not a math class? What would your teacher not have written there? I wouldn't have written the 0, would I? It would have been x squared minus 625, right? And what would this one have been? X squared minus 9. What do you notice about that term and that term? What do they both have? A square root. What do you notice about that term and that term? They both have a square root. So what if, and you don't have to write this one down because we're going to spend a whole lesson on the various mixes of this. What if I gave you this? X squared minus 16. Could you automatically tell me what the answer was? What is it? Close. X
X. What was the form? -4?
plus 4, x minus 4. What if I gave you x squared minus 25? What would it be?
X.
No, wait, that's
5 negative 5?
5 and negative 5. What if I give you x squared minus 121? 11 and 11. Everybody with me? See how you can take knowledge from here that you already know and apply it to something you've never seen. That is where you need to be getting to in math. Look at P. There's a trick to writing the answer. You all know how to find the answer. I want to see if you write it out properly. What's the answer here? What do I have to multiply to? What do I have to add to? I got to multiply to what?
4.
16. I got to add to what? Is it 1 and 16?
No.
2 and 8? 4 and 4? Yep. So it's x plus 4, x plus 4. Would we write it that way? Why?
Because it's a simpler one.
Because there's a simpler way to write it. What is it?
X plus 4 squared.
X plus 4 all squared. Can everybody do trinomial factoring version 1.0? All right. Your job tonight is page 131. All of it. It's 12 questions. And you've got 13 minutes right now. You've got to figure out two numbers that multiply to each other and add to another. That's your job tonight. Tomorrow you are quizzing. The quiz covers pages 128 to 129, but not this stuff. Not what we just did. Okay? Just GCF and expansion. Everybody cool? We'll do that tomorrow. Okay? 12 questions, 12 minutes, go! Have no math homework. You deserve it. Why? Because you're good people. Yes. Yes. I will. Check it. Is it? When you get to an answer, you have two factors, right? Multiply them out and see if you get it.
I'm pretty sure I got it.
Okay, then. I'm not going to let you go off into the night without seeing a couple of these done. I have an answer.
And how does like 10x cubed minus 25x? Can it take me 2 x's or 3 x's?
Yeah. Because the first term can give 3 and the second term can give 4. Yeah. Yes. That font is called Casino Queen. If you look closely, you can see it's got the suits from Cards in it.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I know. That's why I said it, Corey. I'm gonna do some font house cleaning. I have too many fonts that I don't use enough. I do not wish to interrupt you too much, so I'm going to do the first 5 right now. They will be included in the video. You can check your work in a moment. Okay? Yes. Uh-huh. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I've highlighted something in number 4. Why? Doesn't that look like, looks exactly like the ones we just finished with, right? Because that's got a square root, which is 3x plus 4, and then 3x minus 4. If you got to there right now, you would be getting full credit. But if you noticed that and you went there, I would be very, very, very happy. So happy I would treat myself to a chocolate bar. I can? Enough of you got it that I can treat myself to a chocolate bar?
Yeah, I already got it.
Yeah? Before I highlighted it? Really?
Yeah.
How many of you figured that out before I highlighted it? That's enough for a chocolate bar. Thanks, guys. I feel I deserve one anyway. I'm going to get a score bar. Because I love them. I would marry them if I could. I wouldn't really, because it wouldn't make for a lasting marriage. It would be over in like 10 seconds. And then think of the paperwork.